In the second installment of CTMU debate, we're talking about intonation. Now, debate and argumentation doesn't just consist of literal arguments and propositions. It also consists of delivery. A fundamental constituent of delivery is intonation, which is a difference and distinction in tonal inflections. So we're not talking about just the arguments and the propositions of the forms themselves. We're talking about pace, we're talking about tempo, frequency, the manner in which you use your voice to communicate an idea or a notion, right? And so the tonality of passive and active is what creates good speech because some things are emphasized, meaning that they are highlighted to be of greater significance and importance in comparison to other parts of speech, which means that it demands more attention. So with this, you get to pick what you want to be the center of attention in your speech or whatever you're saying in a particular segment of a debate. And you get to deliver your point with maximal efficiency and attentiveness from the audience. Now, there are two tonal inflections, just like there are two modes of debate, which is what we talked about. We talked about being on the offense and being on the defense, and there's also another binary in tonal inflections, just passive and active. Now, the tonality of passive and active is what creates good speech because some things are overemphasized again, and it's what helps you to be able to delineate that which is of greater significance and that which is of nominal significance. Because if everything was just the same, there would be no delineation of your categorization of it as important, less important, maybe more important. It would all just be monotone nonsense, which is why people that have this monotone voice don't do very well in debates. So, to make use of intonation to give off an attitude, which is what you need to do, you need to use it alongside the heat of a topic. Now, any topic has two modes of heat, hot and cold. Now, what do we mean by heat? By heat, we mean significance, popularity, and importance in general. For example, if we're talking about ice cream, it's another level of significance or heat of the topic than if we're going to be talking about abortion, for instance, right? These are two completely contrasted topics of conversation or argumentation or debate, perhaps. I don't know why I'd be arguing about ice cream, but it's just an example. So you create different impressions through how you pair hot and cold with passive and active. So you're supposed to merge the heat of the topic with your tonal inflection of how you're delivering your proposition about a particular topic. So you can have a pairing of different impressions given how you pair hot and cold with passive and active. So passive and cold gives off the impression of weak because if you're using a low voice in a rather unimportant topic, you know, the impression that you're giving off is rather insignificant and doesn't matter at all, right? What you say in any shape or form. Now, if you're having a conversation about something that is more important and significant, and you're speaking in a passive or rather in a passive way, and passive has different forms of manifestation, right? You can be passive in that you speak monotone, or maybe you can be passive in that you speak very fastly. That's tempo, and we'll talk about future installments, right? And I do believe people think that talking fast is like this big no-no in debate. I think it is actually important and can be used in great ways, right? And so passive in conjunction with a hot topic it assumes the impression of logical, confident, right? Active and, well, being very active and aggressive in the tonality of how you're approaching talking about a particular topic and you're delivering about a particular topic, your proposition about a particular topic, in conjunction with the topic being very, uh, the topic being something very contentious, it just gives off an aggressive impression. Like if I was talking about genocide and I was screaming all over the place, it would be a very aggressive impression that I'm giving off to the audience. Like, wow, why is this guy screaming or shouting all over about genocide or like the Holocaust? Why is he doing that? It just gives off an aggressive notion, an aggressive impression to the people that are listening to me, right? And so active plus cold, it gives off funny, chaotic, energetic, weird, right? Like if I'm screaming and shouting about, and I'm very passionate about ice cream, it's just it's just kind of fucking weird. Why is he so passionate about? Why is he screaming over ice cream in a debate? It doesn't really make much sense, right? And so the question becomes, well, how can this be used in debate, right? And there are obviously two types of debate: formal debates or informal debates. Informal debates are kind of like, colloquially speaking, kind of like arguments, Um, but this can be most succinctly utilized and best utilized in formal debates. Because this is the thing, you don't get much time to give off a lengthy impression of yourself to the audience in an informal debate. The impression that you give off to the audience is in the interaction in a formal debate. It's how you interact with your opposing debater, right? And how you feed off of each other's arguments, who's displaying a higher level of competency on the basis of who's taking the charge in offense or defense, and the tempo of the debate or the modality of the debate, right? The pace and everything, right? That's what the competency parameter is set by in an informal debate. You can't really utilize the passive active format and vocal intonation very well to the maximal ability in an informal debate. But in a formal debate, you're given time to make your opening statement, a thesis. You're given the capacity to make a thesis. You have a much wider window of opportunity for you to be a charismatic figure or give off the impression that you do want to give off to the particular audience that you're going to be talking to in reference to a given topic, right? And the impression that you want to give is going to be dependent on the topic, because the heat of the topic is, well, the impression is going to be dependent on the audience, and the impression that you're going to be giving the audience is going to be dependent on the heat of the topic, and how they are receptive to the impression is also going to be dependent on the heat of the topic, right? And so the best contextualized setting under which this carrying of heat with vocal intonation would be best utilized is in a formal debate. Now, obviously, we're speaking in context of using debate skills in online debates, because most people don't do formal debates online. It's just some random people on Discord arguing, right? So that's in a major capacity. That's what we're going to be talking about for the most part. And so far as we're saying, well, debate tactics. This is what's going to help you, right? But in formal debates, this is essential. And in speech at large, this is essential. You can see this is like a big course that I wrote about public speaking and whatnot. I might go over it in depth in a future course or module. But yeah, that's it for vocal intonation.